Hey everybody, this is me, Undead Viking. I want to talk to you about this game. It is called Siege of Sunfall. Siege of Sunfall is a post-apocalyptic blind bidding game where each person is in charge of a settlement that is constantly being harassed and attacked by these devilish raiders from the mutant wastelands, if you will. And you kind of are working together, but you kind of aren't, because of the fact that you want to have the best settlement and have the most resources and have the best chance of surviving. But if all of you don't band together and actually attempt to fight off the raiders as they come and swarm your settlements, you're not going to win. But if you're smart and you can kind of outguess your opponents, you can reserve your strength and use it at opportune times when the benefits for riding out and fighting will most and best suit you in those situations. So I'm going to show you how to play the game. It shouldn't take very long. It is a fairly straightforward game with very few mechanisms, but it has a because of the fact that it relies on blind bidding and it relies on personal intuition and negotiation and bluffing. The gameplay is much deeper than the mechanisms would make you think. So let me show you how to play, and we'll come back here and I'll talk more about why I had a heck of a lot of fun playing Siege of Sunfall with my gaming group. All right, cool. Here we have 4 players set up for a game of Siege and Sunfall. The game is for 3 to 6, and it works really well with any number. I would normally just show you a game of 6, but I don't have a giant table. I don't really have enough room. So regardless, what happens is each person is going to get one of these little player screens. They're going to get one of these settlement cards they put in front of them, and they also, on the back of the player screen, depending on the number of players, they are going to get a number of troops. In this case, we're playing with 4 players, meaning each person is going to start with 12 of these gray troops that have a strength value of 1. They're each worth 1 point during the bidding process. According to 4 players, we are also going to go ahead and take 10 cards, and 10 cards are going to be the number that are involved in each one of our sieges of Sunfall. So we're going to go ahead and see this giant deck of cards. What we're going to do is we're going to take 10 cards at the top, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to take this giant deck and we're just going to put it off to the side because we don't need it until we do the next round. And then we're going to take this giant deck of cards. We're going to take 5 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to take this Siege Ends card. And then the back of the card looks exactly the same. We're going to put that in that 5, and then we're going to shuffle that up, like so. And so we don't know where that Siege Ends card is. We're going to put that down, like so, and then we're going to put the other 5 cards that we had on top of that. So the Siege Ends cards is in the lower half of that deck. So, to begin the round, what we're going to do is each person then has the option of taking one of their soldiers, or multiple soldiers, I should say, and using them and putting them in their settlement. Basically, if they put them in either of these locations and they manage to survive the round, when they take, they'll gain 2 points, 2 resources. Resources are points in this game. They will get 2 resources or 2 points for each soldier they send to work in the fields. If they put a worker here, here, or here, when the new round starts, and you don't get to save any troops. I should mention that. If you have any troops left over, you didn't use them for bidding, you turn them in for 1 point each, or 1 resource each. That's why they're worth 2. Then when you get your troops back, you get your 12, in this case, a 4-player game with 12 troops each. You would, instead of getting, if you had 1 on each of these space, you get 9 normal troops, and you get a defender troop, a ranged troop, and an assault troop. And you can only put 1 soldier in each of those locations. In any of the locations, you only put 1, but you have the 2 fields, obviously. So the reason you get these troops, and those different colored troops in there, is that those have a combat value of 3 on certain types of raiders. And this is just the color chart here. Ranged beats defense, defense beats assault, and assault beats ranged. And so if you have, say, like a ranged troop, it would be worth 3 points in a bid against a defensive raider, but it would be worth only 1 against either ranged or assault. So pretty straightforward, but that's why you would do that. And so you can't then, once they're on the settlement, you can't take them off. You can't decide, I want to use them to bid. They're gone. But, if you think you can get through the round, you might have a really good chance of having either more points or a better military for the next round. Now, I should mention, that you don't get to save your troops. You're always going to be turning them in at the end. So even though you might train a ranged or an assault or whatever one turn, you don't automatically get a ranged or assault the next turn. You have to retrain and get one for that purpose. Just keep that in mind. So after all is said and done, after everybody's decided what they're going to do, you take the top card of the deck and you turn it over and you see what you get. So in this case, we have a assault troop, and if you've seen the movie Wizards, the cartoon, like the kind of fairly serious cartoon, you know exactly what I think of when I see this picture. But regardless, so you have this, and it is assault. So if anybody had a defensive, we don't have it yet right now because we just started the game. They would be worth 3 against this. It has a value of 5, and it's going to be worth 3 troops if you're ever able to turn it in. I'll explain that in just a little bit. So you take this card, you're going to go ahead and put it on the top like so everybody knows what you're going for. In this case, it is a total of 5 combined out of everybody bidding, blind bidding, taking these tokens in their hand, putting them in the hand, and then revealing them like so. I'm not going to go through that process. If you play blind bidding games, you just, like I said, like, I'm going to bid 3, and so you take 3 of these, and everybody would, like, put their hands in, and they go 1, 2, 3, and they'd reveal. And as long as you got 5 or above, that would mean that you had defeated this particular raider. If you defeat the raider, whoever bid the most gets to claim the card and put it behind their screen and save it till later until they're able to turn it in. I'll explain turning it in just a little bit. If you didn't beat that, like let's say I bid 3, he bid 1, and those two bid 0. We wouldn't beat it. It'd be 4 to the 5. So in that situation, whoever bid the least is out of this round. They're done. They're gone. They're not going to get any resources at the end of the turn. They're not going to get any bonus points. And if they had anything in their settlements or anything like that, they're gone too. So it's in your best interest that you want to be able to, defeat the raiders, because you don't want, obviously, to be knocked out and have to get no points for that particular round. In that situation where you don't defeat it, nobody's going to get that card. If multiple people bid the same amount and you defeat it, and multiple people bid the same amount, say like I bid 3, he bid 3, he bid 2, he bid 2, the 2 people that bid 3 would say, okay, they keep all of their troops. The people that bid lower lose half of their bid, rounded up, so they bid 2, so they lose 1. If in this case, like 4 and 4 and 3 and 3, the 2 3s would lose 2 troops, and they'd still be left with 1. So you always round up as far as how many troops you lose. And then everybody gets to rebid, and then you turn over the next card as well. Now, here we have a defensive trooper. His strength of 3, and and once again, it is worth a troop and a resource if you turn it in. Once again, I'll explain turning in a second. So now we have to defeat a total of 8 together, and so now everybody bids again, and hopefully somebody bids enough. So everybody bids enough to defeat 8. Whoever wins this one then gets to claim all of the cards. And if you tie again, you do the exact same thing again, and you do the next card, and so on and so forth. Now, so let's say we bid enough, we claim it, we put it back here, we have those. And just for the sake of argument, I'm just going to go ahead and hand me another card here. You either turn in 3 cards of one color, or you turn in 1 of each. So if you had something like this, and you have to do it immediately. You can't hold on to it. You just have to do it as soon as you're able to. So you turn in these cards, you turn them in the discard, and in this situation, you would automatically get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 troops and 2 points, 2 resources. Now you might say, well, that sucks if I have to turn the troops in. But remember, at the end of a round, any excess troops you have, you turn them back in and you get points back for them, or resources back for them. So turning these in is not only like getting the troops is like really good, because you can use it during that turn to possibly get more cards, or you have them for points at the end of the round. So then the process just continues on like so until let's just see where the where we ended up with the siege. So let's see. So we got it. So we had a blue 3, we had a red 2, and a blue 13. But look at like 3 troops and a resource if you grab that one. So blue 3 and red 1, Red 3. Wow, we're actually getting pretty low here. There's only 3 cards left. Where's it going to end up? Oh, cool. We got a higher mercenaries card. And there's other cards here. I'm going to slow those to you too. But this card, it isn't a raider. It isn't going to hurt you. However, you still bid on it as normal. Whoever bids the most gets this card, and you can add 3 extra troops to your armor before a round begins. You kind of save that, you put it behind you, and then begin any round you wish, you turn it in and you say, I want 3 extra troops, and you get 3 extra troops like that. You can't turn 3 troops into a special one right to begin with. You just get 3 basic troops. So we have 2 cards left, and there's the Siege End. So we'd avoid this blue 7. But the Siege End comes over. At that point, anybody who's still in the round that, if you didn't get knocked out, you get 1 free resource just for surviving the round. And then you, at that point, then turn in any troops that you have left over, and then you get resources for those. You get 2 resources instead of 1 if you have anything on your fields. And then if you have anything over on these, you will then get the special troops the next round instead of the basics. Remember, you don't save any troops behind your thing. No matter how many you picked up, you don't get to say, I'm going to keep these 5 for next round. No, you have to turn them all in, and then you start fresh with your extra troops. So you'll continue doing that until you get through the entire deck of cards. Once you get through the entire deck of cards, obviously whoever has the most resources at the end will win the game. Now I just want to show you there's a couple other, there's rat attack cards. If you get it, once again, you're just bidding for these as normal. You discard the card and you get one of these little chits here, radiation chits. Those are the equivalent of 2 points in any bid that you want to add them into. There is also, I'm digging through here to find it, the Kaboom card. I love the Kaboom card. Okay, so you get this, and then you get this Explosion card here. When you bid, if you turn in the bid with this Explosion, you spend this chip and you destroy everybody, basically the cards that you're bidding on go away because you've blown them up, and also whatever anybody's bid as far as troops go, they also lose those as well. So it's a total hurt bag. So it's one of those things where it's you get that 13 and everybody's bidding tons of troops, and you put that in there, you blow everything up, nobody gets the card, but you're taking away everybody's troops as well. So that's one of the cool kind of dirty trick cards, if you will. Just because, also it should be mentioned that if you run out of troops through bidding, you don't automatically get knocked out. And so that's why, as far as the number of troops you have, having it secretive is important, because people aren't going to know that you have 0 troops. If they know you have 0 troops, they're going to purposely fail a contest, and then you're going to lose. And so then you're knocked out, and you're not going to get those resources. If you can survive by bluffing and just saying, oh, I'm bidding 0, oh, I'm bidding 0, and you can get to the process of getting through the round, you will still survive as long as you don't get knocked out and everybody else is killing the raiders for you, and you don't have to worry about they're doing all the heavy lifting, if you will. And then you get to the end, and then you'll get your bonuses if you had anything on the cards in front of you, and also the extra bonus resource as well. So this is a game of bluffing and counter bluffing, and it is a game of secret knowledge, and it is also a game of negotiation and table talk. And it's I love blind bidding games, and I knew I was going to love this one. I dig the theme. There's a lot of cursing that goes along within the game, and a lot of vows of vengeance as well. But it's just a heck of a lot of fun for good friends that aren't going to get too upset with each other when you end up stabbing each other in the back. But let me talk more about that in my conclusion. Alright, thank you very much for taking the time to learn how to play Siege of Sunfall. Like I said, there isn't a lot of rules to it. It is a blind bidding game, and that is the main mechanism. I mean, there is some resource management as far as with whether or not you're going to put your troops out in the fields or out training or what have you. But for the most part, it's pretty straightforward. It's more of kind of having the idea of how many troops somebody has hidden behind one of the little bases here, and also just what do I think that person's going for? What do I do? I think they're going to bid 4. Do I think they're going to bid 5? Do I bid 3? Do I bid 4? And the crux of the matter is that you want to win, right? But you don't want to win by too much. You obviously want to win by 1. If the highest bid is 3, you want to bid 4. You don't want to tie. I mean, tying is okay if you're the person who ties, but you definitely don't want to be the person that didn't tie, because you don't want to lose troops for nothing and then be kind of staring up at the top of the well as it gets further and further away. You have that wonderful situation where it's you want to bid just enough, but not too much. There's nothing that stinks more like when you bid 5 and everybody else bid 2, and you realize you could have, you know, bid 3 and gotten just the same result. You're just kind of like just throwing resources out and throwing troops basically to the wind, if you will. You know, it has just enough of the kind of the cards that manage to let you screw with other people, like with the boom cards. It has just enough of that, like to like. I mean, the game is all about like backstabbing and like convincing people that, you know, oh, you know, we need to beat this, you know, that kind of thing. We need to beat at least 3. You know, who's not going to do it? You know, there's just enough of that, like, but there's also just enough of like the cards themselves also that like kind of force a little more contention as well, that add that spirit of paranoia and distrust that makes games like this a lot of fun. So, I mean, like, I knew I was going to like it just because I really like blind bidding games, and I like games where I'm able to kind of exert my charisma and will on other people. I excel at these types of games, and I always talk about how I never win. These are the types of games that I win, and well, I mean, it feels good to win every once in a while after I lose like 80% of the other games that I play. So, so there you go. So Siege of Sunfall, if you have any questions about how the game is played, please ask away. I'll answer those to the best of my ability. As always, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. I appreciate each and every time anybody out there decides to listen to what I have to say about a game. And until the next video, I'm just going to tell all of you to have one heck of a nice day. All right, bye-bye.